Welcome to my YouTube channel, The Wordy Tales. I never expected my life to become the kind of story people would talk about on the internet. Honestly, if someone had told me a year ago that I'd be sitting here sharing how I betrayed the man I loved and how he still got down on one knee and asked me to marry him, I'd have laughed in their face. But life has a way of surprising you, twisting things in ways that are equal parts cruel and beautiful. And this was both. It started like any other cliché love story. I met Jason in college. We had mutual friends, so we ended up at the same parties, the same study groups, the same early morning caffeine runs before exams. He was the kind of guy that people instantly trusted. Calm, sincere, never in a rush to prove anything. I, on the other hand, was always chasing something. A goal, a thrill, a new experience. In a way, he grounded me. He made me feel safe, seen. Jason was never the loudest in the room, but when he spoke, you listened. He was thoughtful in a way that made you believe in decency again. I remember once, during our sophomore year, I came down with the flu right in the middle of finals. I was a mess, fever, tears, zero energy, and he showed up at my dorm with soup, notes from all my classes, and a playlist of calming music because he knew I couldn't sleep without background noise. That's just who he was. And maybe that's where the problem started. Not with him. Never with him, but with me. See, I had never known what to do with stability. I came from a home where love was loud and messy and often conditional. My parents had divorced twice, from each other. Yes, twice. So, to me, love was a cycle of passion and pain, joy and chaos. Stability felt like silence, and silence made me restless. For 3 years, Jason and I built a life together. We moved in after graduation, adopted a dog named Momo, started talking about the future in concrete ways. Marriage, kids, mortgage, the works. He got a job in finance. I was working in digital marketing. Life was steady, maybe too steady. I told myself everything was perfect. But underneath, I was itching. I couldn't figure out if I was bored or scared or just self-sabotaging. Maybe all three. And then came the moment I now replay over and over in my mind like a bad movie scene. I met Liam at a work conference. He was a speaker, charismatic, hilarious, dangerously charming. The kind of guy who knew the effect he had on people and used it like a weapon. He honed in on me from the moment we shook hands. There was nothing innocent about it. And the worst part, I liked it. It started with long conversations over coffee, under the pretense of networking. Then came the flirtatious texts. And before I knew it, we were in a hotel room after the second night of the conference. I won't sit here and paint it as a moment of weakness. It wasn't. It was a series of choices I made, fully aware of their consequences. Choices I've regretted every single day since. The guilt didn't come crashing down immediately. At first, I compartmentalized. Told myself it was a one-time thing. That I didn't love Liam. That Jason would never find out. I got back home and slipped into our routine like nothing had happened. But that lie, it doesn't fade, it rots, it spreads. Jason noticed, of course. He didn't accuse me, he never did, but he started asking questions. Was I okay? Did I still feel happy with him? Was there something he was missing? God, that hurt more than anything. That he was blaming himself. That the man I had betrayed was still more worried about my emotional well-being than his own. Weeks went by. I tried to forget, to bury it. But Liam didn't help. He kept reaching out. There were more meetups. A second betrayal. A third. I was spiraling. And I knew it. I hated who I was becoming, but I couldn't stop. Then one night, Jason came home early from work. I wasn't expecting him. And I wasn't alone. He didn't yell. He didn't scream. He just stood there in the doorway, eyes wide, breath caught, like I had taken all the air out of the room. Liam left without saying a word. I wanted to chase after him and scream that it was his fault, but I knew it wasn't. It was all me, every single bit of it. Jason sat down on the couch. I stood there, shaking, waiting for the avalanche of anger. It never came. He just looked at me and asked, why? And I couldn't answer. Not because I didn't know, but because saying it out loud would make it real. I told him everything that night. Every disgusting, selfish detail. He didn't interrupt. He didn't cry. He just listened. Then he packed a bag and left. For days, I didn't hear from him. I thought it was over. Honestly, I hoped it was. Not because I didn't love him. I did, but because I knew I didn't deserve him. I went through all the stages. Shame, regret, desperation. I deleted Liam's number. I quit my job. I went to therapy. I did all the things people do when they hit rock bottom and decide they want to climb their way back up. A month passed. Then two. And then, one rainy Thursday afternoon, I opened my front door and there he was, soaking wet, holding a small box. I thought it was something I'd left at his place. I opened the door wider to let him in. But instead, he knelt down. Right there, on the wet welcome mat, with raindrops sliding down his face like tears he'd never shed. He said, "I've had time to think. To feel everything. To hate you. To miss you. And I realize that I still love you. And if we're going to fall apart, I want to at least try first. I want to believe that love can be stronger than betrayal. That we're more than this moment." And then he opened the box. A ring. The one we had looked at once, months ago, when marriage was still a distant dream. I broke down. Not a romantic movie cry, but an ugly, raw, heaving kind of cry. I told him he didn't have to do this. That he deserved better. That I didn't want him to make a mistake. He said, "Maybe I do deserve better. But I don't want better. I want you. I want us. But this time, it has to be different." We didn't get married right away. In fact, we spent almost another year in therapy, both individual and couples. We rebuilt everything from the ground up. Trust, communication, intimacy. And it was hard. God, it was hard. There were nights he couldn't even look at me. Mornings where I woke up and caught him staring at the ceiling, lost in thoughts I knew were haunted by what I'd done. We had rules, boundaries, full transparency. I gave him access to everything, my phone, my emails. Not because he asked, but because I needed him to know I had nothing to hide anymore. We relearned each other. Not as the perfect couple we once pretended to be, but as two deeply flawed people choosing each other despite the damage. Choosing forgiveness over pride, healing over punishment. I stopped chasing thrills, stopped needing validation from strangers. I realized I'd been trying to fill a hole that had nothing to do with Jason. That I'd broken the one person who had never tried to fix me, because he didn't see me as broken in the first place. People think forgiveness is weak. That staying with someone who hurt you is pathetic. But what Jason showed me was the opposite. Forgiveness is brutal, it's bloody, it's choosing to love with open wounds and no guarantees. And that takes more strength than walking away ever could. Eventually, we did get married. It was a quiet ceremony. Just close friends and family. No grand gestures, no elaborate vows. Just a promise to keep choosing each other, every day, especially on the hard days. And here's the part one didn't expect. I became a better person. Not because I was afraid of losing him again, but because he showed me who I could be. Who I wanted to be. For him. For myself. I'll never forget what I did. And I'll never ask anyone to understand it. But I will say this. Sometimes love isn't about perfection. It's about repair. And sometimes, the most beautiful stories are the ones that nearly ended. This is mine.